First-time author Linda Yende, who is popularly known as Uncle L to his fans, has urged over the past 2 years to put his words from his advice columns into a book, and as a result, Wake Up Woman was born. A unique book that gives insight into relationships, tackling controversial topics such as why men cheat and are you his number one. This is no manual or self-help book for any relationship, but rather helps you notice things about yourself and your relationships. He joins me in studio this morning. Uncle L, I think you want to cause a lot of issues in relationships.
Not at all, actually. Not at all. I think I'm helping people take stock more than anything. People are sort of able to take a step back and say, you know, there's a lot of things that guys in particular don't get around to discussing. Because you know how guys are. We don't want to be all touchy-feely. Leave me alone with all the relationship discussions and whatnot. So I've sort of given the guy's perspective. I've given the male perspective.
So you have shared our secrets, our codes. You've taken our secrets, our discussions, and shared it with women.
No, not even. I think it's just more a case of this is how we feel when such happens. This is what.
So they can understand.
This is how you make us feel. There's a lot of guys who obviously look at the book initially with that sort of perspective that you're thinking now. And then after reading it, they go, you know what? You're actually speaking on our behalf. You're speaking on our behalf. You're saying a lot of things that we can't say, that we haven't been able to say. So, you know, guys that have read it have enjoyed it. Just as much as the ladies, obviously.
Let's talk about that stuck in relationships, because I do think it's an important thing to talk about.
Sure.
The sexes still seem to not be able to communicate properly. That issues around relationships, and it's funny, whether it's you or me or your friends across the table, that generally we have the same relationship issues. How do you, or your insight on something like communication, when a woman says, we need to talk, the immediate reaction is that it's negative or it's bad.
True. See, this is the thing, is there's so many things that we wish we could actually convey to them as well. But we're battling to kind of cross this divide. We speak very different languages. You know the whole men are from women, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That thing is, there's a lot of truth in that, because we speak in ways that we, for some reason, I mean, if I speak to guys about a concern, they'll immediately understand what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from. But I speak about it to a lady and she totally loses me. So let's take a very simple thing. We're driving in a parking lot and she goes, there's a parking space. Immediately, I mean, I'm tempted not to even take that parking space because it kind of feels emasculating. Why does she have to tell me where to park? Let me be the man and do my thing. Do you know what I mean? It's little things like that. And a guy will simply respond by saying, don't tell me what to do. And he'll go out there and he'll find his own parking spot. Whereas, if he was communicating in her language, then he'd say, baby, when you do that, you make me feel incapable. You're making me feel like...
And we're not discussing the parking spot.
Precisely. It's not about the parking spot at all. So, similarly, I mean, I'm trying to speak to ladies and say, if we could, these are the things we would tell you as guys.
Why Wake Up Woman?
It's an interesting thing. I mean, in the intro you mentioned that the whole book came about because I used to get a lot of inboxes and whatnot on social media from ladies, and they'd be responding to things that I had spoken about. But more often than not, they'd be coming in saying, listen, how do I deal with this situation? I've got this problem, I've got this happening in my life and whatnot. How do I deal with it? And it got frustrating to a point where I could sometimes, I felt like grabbing this person and saying, wake up, woman, don't you see you're being taken advantage of? Don't you see this is not a relationship? Because she's sitting there talking about my man, and she's talking about a guy she hasn't seen in 4 months, and she's calling him her man. Do you know what I mean? So it was a bit of frustration in that process when I was saying, wake up, woman. But I've also just found that it's become a provocative thing. It makes somebody sit up and say, geez, I want to hear what this guy's saying.
So you're trying to facilitate a smoother relationship between men and women.
Absolutely.
But by understanding the man. Why do men cheat?
Ooh, okay. The simple answer is because they can find somebody to cheat with.
Okay.
Guys are not out there cheating with other men. They're cheating with ladies. Well, some are, I suppose.
Well, you know, there's this argument that if men cheat and women don't cheat, who are men cheating with?
Who are men cheating with, precisely. So they are finding an audience. They are finding somebody to cheat with. But more than anything, guys do it for their ego. It's an ego boost. It makes them feel like macho, more of a man, whatever. So, you know, I mean, that's a simplistic view of the whole process. But very rarely do guys cheat because there's something lacking in his woman. And that's the bit I want to get across in the book, that women often immediately think it's something wrong with her. She decides she's going to start hitting the gym, she's going to start doing this because the guy cheated on her. So I'm trying to just make them understand that, please, stop blaming yourself. He was attracted to you as you are.
Fundamentally, it's wrong.
Fundamentally, it's wrong. It's
But
his
there's
problem.
more to it, you're saying?
Yes, there's so much more to it. It's not you.
Okay.
It's not you. It's very rarely you.
How have women reacted to that? And I think that's quite a controversial statement, because a lot of women are going to say, you're trying to justify why men are even interested in other women, but the reality is it's just wrong.
No,
Finish and clear.
far from it.
I don't want to hear anything more. It's wrong. How have women reacted to that particular
Oh, no, I mean,
comment?
they totally get it, because very often women are left wondering, what is it that I did wrong to make this man cheat?
That it's
what is it that I
emotional.
didn't do? What is it that I could have done differently and whatnot? And I'm saying, stop blaming yourself. It's not you.
It's physical.
He's the problem.
Okay.
He is the problem. His greed, his selfishness, his little boy wanting to sort of prove himself to his mates, to his little ego, to whatever, is what made him cheat.
What is the other controversial thing, very quickly, in the book?
Oh,
that you
gosh,
touch on?
there's so many. I think one of my favorite topics in the book is where I talk about a relationship contract.
Yes.
Where I say, effectively, women nowadays are not waiting for guys to ask them out. They're just making it so easy. You have a couple of phone calls, speak on WhatsApp, and suddenly he's referring to you as my babe, and then it's almost an assumption that you are in a relationship.
Yeah.
Which is quite silly, because the day you find out that he has somebody else, you've got no leg to stand on. He'll say, I don't remember asking you to be my girlfriend.
Okay.
You're not. So it would be nice if you could have a relationship contract. You know, it's a theoretic thing. It's not an actual
I would love
contract.
to see how that would work. So on the first day, you flip out this
Well, no,
document,
I mean-
you go through point 1A.
Not quite, but just have a discussion about, look, this is what
Yeah.
I'm looking for from you.
For sure.
And
No, I
you know,
understand what you're saying.
Similarly, you know, I mean, not an
I'm
actual
just
contract.
worried that there are women walking around with relationship contracts now,
That
and
becomes a
men as
problem.
well, saying, "Okay, I like you, but let's talk about point 1A over here."
These are the deliverables. these are your KPIs.
What is your SWOT analysis in this relationship? Your strengths, weaknesses. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to leave it there. Interesting book. I'm sure a lot of people will be picking it up. It's first-time author Linda Yende, known as Uncle Al. He's put out a book. It's going to be an interesting discussion. It's called Wake Up Women. It's available in all good bookstores. And it's a man's perspective, from a man's perspective, enlightening women on just what is your guy thinking when he's quiet.